The following podcast contains coarse language and adult themes. This week on the show, we're going to be chatting about double cage, sexy flowers, and, as Chris Cooper says, fuck fish. This is one of the best industry movies ever made, friends. It's Spike Jonze' Adaptation. I'm Riggs.
I'm Eddie.
And this is the Film Addicts podcast. Hey friends, and welcome back to the Film Addicts podcast. Here we are, just getting ready to talk about Adaptation, pretty spectacular picture. And I'm here with my botany-loving partner, the always glamorous, the always delicious, Addie, what's up?
Hey man, I am so glad to see you.
Thanks. I'm glad to see me too. What's going on?
Nothing. Absolutely fucking nothing. Which is worrying. But it's fine.
Fucking March, you know, eh? March, it's such a nothing month that we should have fuck off. Fuck March and fish, all right?
Yes, fuck fish. Because I can't eat it, so fuck it.
No, I can't either because they have feelings. So yeah, what's nothing's been going on for you?
No,
The people want to know.
I've just watched a lot of things that we'll probably talk about. That's it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I haven't watched heaps because I've been in production mode. But I did watch a very good one that I will talk about. Yeah, fuck it. Let's just forget about all the the pomp and circumstance. Let's just get into the segments and talk about watching shit.
Yeah, but before that, how you doing?
Fuck. Teetering on the edge of oblivion. I'm holding on by my fingernails to sanity, and it's quite a treat, I must tell you. I'm just working too much still, and I need a fucking break. Potting is kind of a break, which is good. I've been doing a bit of potting since my throat got better. I was very sick at the beginning of the week, which is why this episode's later than normal. But I was able to squeeze in some pods. Just pop them in there, just squeeze them in nice and tight. We've done 3 this week, including this one. One I'll talk about because it leads into what we'll be watching, which is what we're going to do right now. What?
Are we?
Ha 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 ha! Oh, ching! Just ching. Not even the W, the A, or the T, or the G for that matter. Anyway, this is what we've been watching, bitches. Don't call the audience bitches. Here we are. What are we watching? You've watched heaps, so you go first.
Oh boy. So I'll start with
I would laugh so hard if you pulled out a cartoon scroll and let it go out and it ran miles down the street.
I have to do that one day.
Starting with A, I've been watching anuses.
All right, so I'm going to start with the most recent one. I watched Apocalypse Now for the second time yesterday. For
Which version was it?
Well, see, this is when you're on the sea, you can't really tell which version you get. So you tell me which is the normal one.
Did you just say when you're on the sea?
Yeah.
That is the most subtle, glorious callback to me making a pirate joke that, in the first season I've ever heard. That's great. When you're out on the high seas, you've got to get whatever Apocalypse Now you can get. But it doesn't, you don't know, it didn't tell you.
Oh, well, no, it did not. I watched the 2.5 hour version, 2 hours, 27 minutes.
I think that might be the OG because there's Redux and then they did the final cut as well, if I'm not mistaken. I think there's 3 versions of them. But yeah, 2.5 hours seems short for a director's cut kind of situation there.
Although Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice is 2.5 hours long, the director's cut, and the 30 minutes that do cut out is the most vital thing to that story.
Yeah, it's weird that. I think it would have been a much better film had they left it in and cut out some of the Jesse Eisenberg stuff. Anyway, we're not talking about Superman. So you watched Apocalypse Now. How do you feel about it?
So I watched it on Monday for the first time because we're gonna do it for film club this week. We did like last night, but I watched it on Monday, and for like the first 30 minutes, it was really great. And then I felt like it was one of the most boring things I've ever fucking seen in my life.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Have you seen it?
Have I seen Apocalypse Now? Yeah, a few times.
Okay. So when Willard gets to Kurt's Island, from then on till the end of the film, I thought it was one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. But then there was like hour and 50 minutes, which was the fucking boring part. So I had to go back and rewatch it to kind of, because when you're like trying to critique something, you can't just say it's boring. That means that you didn't pay attention. But yeah, I rewatched it, and I felt similarly in some ways, but also it hit different. Like I was more prepared for what was coming, and I got into the story a lot more. The things they show in that film are fucking horrifying, man.
It's not an easy watch, that's for sure. But and I do feel what you're saying about the kind of the lagging nature of it in the middle. But I fucking love that movie. There's a really good documentary about it if you can find it somewhere. I mean, sure, you'd be able to find it online somewhere or whatever. I just happened to have it because it came with the Redux Blu-ray called Hearts of Darkness, and it's directed and shot by Francis Ford Coppola's wife. Like she was on set and had a camera and was making a documentary of the making of the picture, and it's basically all these people descending into madness, and it's one of the best behind the scenes documentaries that you can ever see. Really, really incredible. So yeah, Hearts of Darkness, I highly recommend it. I will check that out 100%. It'll give so much context to some of the stuff that you saw and why those decisions were made, especially the Brando stuff. Like he was a fucking nightmare on that film. He turned up late. He was incredibly overweight. He didn't want to be there. They wouldn't even had a script. They would just, talk and talk and talk and ad lib and ad lib and ad lib, and he would just make stuff up. And, the whole ending of that film was rewritten because he wasn't on course. You know what I mean? And, the thing of killing the buffalo and all that stuff was an actual ritual that particular group of people, the native people had. And yeah, fucking Martin Sheen had a heart attack in the middle of production.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah. The scene where he's smashing up his hotel room. Mm-hmm. That's legit. He was absolutely poleaxe, wasted, drunk. And in the documentary, you see the B-roll of it, and Coppola's off camera, like giving him directions, and telling him he's a piece of shit and all this kind of stuff. And where he punches the mirror, that's not fake blood. He sliced his hand open. Real like proper 70s filmmaking where it was, everything was at stake. It'll really give a lot of context to that film for you.
Damn, I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, it's really good.
All right, so I watched a lot of things, but I'm gonna pick a few. So I finally watched Civil War, and I fucking loved it. And I hate that
the Alex Garland picture, not the Captain America picture.
Yeah. I fucking regret not watching that in theaters. This is the one where Alex Garland had me, because I don't have a good relationship with Alex Garland directing. But
why not?
I don't understand some of the decisions he makes, and especially in Warfare, he's just like that film glorifies a lot of the things that the U.S. military was doing in Iraq, and it ends on a really horrific note, and then turns into a montage of the real soldiers on which the film is based on, but then they cover, like they redact parts of that montage out. That whole, and like it lasts for like 5 minutes, and I can't understand why they would make this film and then redact stuff, and like it's like I guess it's for like the protection of those people, but then these characters have those exact names. So anyway, Civil War is an incredibly well paced and incredibly important film. It is really fucking important, and I was shook, man, to say the least. And also to have a character in your film about photojournalism mention Lee Miller is something that I would not have expected, but it is important because she's important. So yeah. And then I watched Spotlight.
Fucking hell, that as a double bill? Jesus Christ.
It was same night.
I'd be mainlining fucking heroin into my eyeballs if I did that. That's some depressing afternoon, dude.
Yeah. I finished Civil War at like 11 p.m. and I started Spotlight at like 11:10.
You started watching Spotlight at nearly midnight? Yeah. Holy shit. That's not breezy watching. Like last night I watched, oh shit, the one that I'm going to talk about I watched, and then I needed something, it was, it was close to midnight. I needed something breezy, so I just chucked on a movie that's one of We Hate movies for this month called Supernova, which is a trashy, sexy sci-fi movie with James Spader from like 2000. That's the kind of thing you watch after midnight, buddy, not fucking Spotlight. Mercy.
What would you say if I tell you that the week before that I had watched Manchester by the Sea at 1 a.m.
Jesus Christ. That is, you know what I'm watching at 1 a.m.? Fucking cartoons, mate. That's,
I like fucked up cartoons, honestly, like Courage the Cowardly Dog.
What is that? What is it?
It's Courage the Cowardly Dog. It's a cartoon with a purple dog whose name is Courage, and he lacks courage, and it is the most insanely fucked up thing a 9-year-old can ever watch.
Luckily, I'm not one of those, so I can probably get away with it.
So what's Spotlight? That was incredible.
Yeah, it's a great film.
Yeah, I was not expecting it to like it as much as I did. Mark Ruffalo was amazing in that. That's
my favorite performance of his, I think. Maybe that and Zodiac.
Oh man, he is like I cannot think of Zodiac and not think of his performance. He's that good in that film.
Yeah, he's an incredibly naturalistic actor. Like even though he doesn't do character work, unless he's working with Yorgos, you can really see the craft there. He's not a I don't know. He's a real. It all comes from inside. Like some actors are kind of environmentally affected, or it's their performance is based on the performance of others. But Mark just finds something. Mark, like I know him, just finds something inside and pulls it out. Some pain, and there's a real. He's very vulnerable, and I love that. And it seems like that's how he is in his real life too. Which is ironic considering he plays the Hulk, which is exactly what the fucking Hulk is. He's, a normal man 1 minute, a rage of emotions the next.
But it's also one of the most relatable things for like humans in general.
That's why the Hulk's always going to be my favorite character. I totally get that. I totally get the peaceful, intelligent, I'm not saying this about myself, but the peaceful, intelligent, mannered person. And then everybody in the room's at risk, you know what I mean? Maybe not physically, but you tear somebody down pretty quickly if you're intelligent. But yeah, that's why he's the best. But yeah, so that was that first time you've seen Spotlight, or?
Yeah, it was the first time because I had the fucking journalism kick. It's also
that's a good one.
It fucking hits home because I studied journalism for like 3.5 years. So yeah, I do know some shit. I watched Chainsaw Man Reze Arc, which is Chainsaw Man is an anime based on a manga, and Reze Arc is a film that picks up right after the first season ends. So this film takes place before season 2 and after season 1. And I can't describe. I know I'm talking about it, but I cannot describe how this movie made me feel. It is fucking amazing. The intro itself of this film has like smoke that's animated, like hand-drawn animated smoke, and it's like a neon red. You know how like film burns, right? It's like it has that kind of look. Just the intro of it had me at that point. I was like, whatever this is, I am in fucking love, and I'm in awe. And for like the next 2 hours, I was in fucking awe. And it was so good that because I watched it in dub first because I love the dubbed voice actors, and because they do so much crazy shit, but it works because it's anime, and also like because of the characters. But it was so good that like I watched it in English dub, and then the next morning I watched it in Japanese because I had to rewatch it because it was so good. And yeah, that is of everything. I think that is my biggest regret last year for like giving this up. Like watching this in theaters. I hope that I would have done that. I just didn't have anybody to go with. That I watched Sentimental Value, which is a great little film. It is really emotional, and it shows one of the few rare things that we have in cinema is siblings shown loving each other. We don't get that we don't get that often. This film.
I'm pretty sure there's a tab on Pornhub you can go to see plenty of it.
But that's not cinema, man.
Says you.
Sentimental Value was amazing. Stellan Skarsgård is amazing in it. The other actors are incredible as well, but his performances stand out. And then I want to talk about something that happened last week, which is last week there was an episode of The Pit, and one of the things that it centered around was like a heavy patient comes in, and like how they handled it was like very respectful, because he was apologizing a lot for being overweight and like not being able to like them not being able to operate on him as they would have like a thin person. And it was so incredibly done and so incredibly acted and amazingly written that I cried watching that. And it also it hits home because I'm on the heavier side of things. So yeah, so I wrote something about it on Threads, and then like 20,000 people looked at it and liked it and shared their stories.
That's awesome.
And that like it fucking filled my heart, man.
I'm really pleased that you're able to, find a connection. It was like Harrison Ford said in the in his beautiful acceptance speech of his Lifetime Achievement Award at the GLAAD Awards, or whatever they call it now, how he said, sometimes we make entertainment, sometimes we make art, and sometimes we make them both at the same time. Like if you can take something away from a piece of cinema or a piece of television or whatever that means something to you or can move you in some way or makes you feel an emotional thing, and then you can then create art from it, that's even better, I also want to create, it wasn't 20,000 people, it was 2,000 people. But I got like a lot of fucking comments on that thread just talking about their experiences. And it just, that's why art matters, man. Because because at one point it's real for people. And it opens up a dialogue as well. Like even if you don't agree on something, there's dialogue there, it doesn't have to get, tribal and primitive, but you can have a conversation,
That's all I watched.
Nice one. Well, I watched so I watched the fucking Vancouver Canucks just get their asses handed to them again and again. I don't know what's going on. Our season's fucked. We're not going to make the playoffs, unfortunately. But I finished The Invisibles, fucking heavy ass 60 issue omnibus that's as big as a phone book. I don't understand all of it. And I don't follow the timeline of all of it. And I don't 100% understand. Like the best thing that a writer can do, like a sentence well written that contains more than the words within it, is exactly what a writer wants to do. And that's where Grant Morrison works. He works in a space where the words on the page are only the beginning of the message. And I love that. And it's going to require more investigation and more thought. But I like that about his work, that it's not easy. Like you have to really commit. And there's a lot of stuff in there about sort of, like chaos magic and tribalistic stuff and shamanic trance work, and there's a whole lot of stuff going on. It's incredibly forward facing. Like nearly everybody in the book is some variation on the LGBTQIA plus scale. One of the lead characters is a trans woman named Lord Fanny, and she's an awesome character, and she leads the second arc of the book. And this was like 1997. Actually earlier than that. I think it started in 94. King Mob is absolutely pansexual. Like it's really interesting to look at it now and then, like, not that it, those people would are always dying for representation, but at that period of time, like, we didn't even have words to describe, or to help people understand, how people feel more than anything. So that was really cool. And it's also just a fucking baller ass sci-fi story that The Matrix totally ripped off. It's a huge thing about it. But yeah, it was really, really cool. So I enjoyed it. I will go back again though and start from the top and work my way through. But I'm going through a few sort of online deconstructions of it. So Arden Lee, who's a magician and a musician and a podcaster, has done some deep dives on the sort of the hypersigil magic based around it and all that stuff, which, I don't 100% buy into. I don't know enough about it, but it's interesting anyway. So that was really cool. But me and Emily, when she's not on tour, Sundays nights or Monday nights or whenever it is, we have a night off together, sort of towards the beginning or end of the week. We watch a classic movie together. So like her pick was Breakfast at Tiffany's, and then my pick was Casablanca, because she'd never seen it. And I love that movie. It's just a fucking perfect script. And the reason I watched it is because in Adaptation, he says Casablanca was written by twin brothers, and it's best screenplay ever written. So I watched it and then printed out the screenplay and was reading that. So that's a good film. But I went and saw Scream 7 at the cinema, and I did it because the sequel suck podcast that I'm on, we were going to chat about it, and did a lovely episode with the boys and a new friend named Ben, who's a journalist cat who was fucking hysterical and really, really lovely. And but yeah, so the film was fine. Like it's totally a Scream movie, I'll tell you that much. Stakes are pretty fucking low and whatever. But the thing that got me was I was really intrigued by the lead. And I was like, she's kind of like got Jennifer Lawrence vibes. I wonder if she's been anything else. And she was in a movie in 2020 with The Punisher. And he's not John Bernthal. The one that the Punisher movie with John Travolta, whatever the cat's name is. He was in The Predator as well. Thomas Jane. I got him. He's all good. Thomas Jane, who I really like. I've liked him since that Punisher movie, which I think is quite good. And I didn't know anything about it. It was just called Run, Hide, Fight. I'm like, that sounds pretty dope. And I put it on, and holy shit, it is one of the most baller ass action pictures I've ever seen. But it's also scathing in terms of its social commentary and stuff. It's basically a Die Hard movie that takes place during a school shooting. So this young girl who is her mother's passed away from cancer, and her dad is an ex-Marine and it teaches her to shoot and stuff. So she's a bit of a pimp, a bit of a gangster, and but very withdrawn. And her school gets taken over by a group of kids, who want to be famous, for killing people, and they orchestrate it all. And there's a bunch of them. They hold people hostage in the cafeteria and have everyone film it. And it's very current. It's very now and very haunting. And it doesn't shy away either. It's incredibly violent. Like you just see people get blown away because that's what fucking happens during those things. And she ends up escaping and helping some people get out, but then she turns around and goes back in to help more people. And it's basically the story of her like overcoming these dudes. So there is like a real action movie vibe to it. Like I said, Die Hard during a school shooting. But because it's a young woman and she's really good in it too, the actress is excellent. It's a wonderful performance. And I looked when I was logging on Letterboxd, I noticed that it had like a 2.7 or something, which isn't bad, I guess, but it's probably not great. And I bet I know why. I didn't look at any of the comments because I don't want to engage that way, but I bet I know why people don't like it. And I bet it's because it's triggering. They're like, you can't tell a story like this about some girl coming along and superhumanly overtaking these people. These shootings happen every day. Yeah, they fucking do. And that's kind of the point. Like, if you can make a war movie where people are fucking gunning each other down like it's ain't no thing, or you can make a movie about the fucking, genocide or whatever, you can make a movie like this. Like, I'm sorry, these things happen every fucking day. We only hear about some of them, but someone somewhere walks into a school or some sort of scholastic environment and kills people almost every day, particularly in the United States. And to make a movie where a young woman, not only is it commenting on an environment and a society that allows this shit to continue to happen, but to have her overcome is really powerful. It doesn't entice students to do that. Like, if there was a school shooting, I don't think that someone who'd seen this movie would go, cool, I'm going to be like that hero chick, because it's not painted that way. It's not glorified. She's not superhuman. She gets the shit kicked out of her. She gets shot in the leg and, chased, and she is hiding for most of it. She's not kung fuing these dudes. Like, she's outwitting them. The reasoning behind why these people are attacking the school, like, one of them just wants to do it the best anyone's ever done it, because he's been told his whole life he's worthless and a piece of shit. One of them wants to do it because he's got a grudge against the whole school because the school bully dacked him in front of an assembly and everyone saw his cock, and like, that's horrible. It's a horrible thing to happen to you, but it certainly doesn't warrant, going and murdering a bunch of people. So yeah, it was really interesting. It's sort of, when it started happening, I'm like, oh shit, is that what this is about? Like, and I was a bit skeptical at first, and then I don't know, I just thought it was handled really well. It was shot really well. It was directed really well. All the performances are great, and yeah, it's they wouldn't do it again because they're like, oh, well, that failed. But it's basically, Gus Van Sant's Elephant if it wasn't fucking up its own ass. You know what I mean? And particularly about Columbine. But yeah, I just feel like the negative review or the negative idea around it would be absolutely tied to the subject matter, which isn't fair. Like, if you can make a movie, like I said, about the horrific shits that goes on in during wartime, or even things like making movies about sexual perversion or whatever, it's fucking either all of it's fair game or none of it is. You know what I mean? Like, Kevin Bacon was in a movie called The Woodsman where he played a recovering child rapist. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
Yeah. He's a guy who gets out of prison and he'd gone to prison for being a pedophile. If you can make a story about that, you can make a story about fucking school shootings, okay? Let's everybody just, not pretend like we all don't know what's going on. Fucking bullshit. Anyway, that was my other film because it was very, very good. I do check it out if you get a chance, yeah. It's, I don't know, maybe our fans in the US might be a bit triggering for you, but nobody... That doesn't happen in schools here because nobody has any guns here. Well, having said that, there was a mass shooting here recently in Sydney. So, but very different circumstances, but still, like, it doesn't happen that frequently here because our gun laws are really good for the most part. Enough politics. It's a good movie for everything I just said. It's just a good movie. Do you want to do the nerd news? And it's only going to be one subject.
I do, but I have like two things to talk about really quickly. I rewatched the first two Ant-Man movies. They are great. They are really underappreciated, and I hate when Marvel Blu-rays look the same because they do, and it's a gray overview of like the entire, like, there's no color grading there, and I
Marvel's berets. What did you say? Marvel doesn't wear berets. Blu-rays. Yeah. Right, Blu-rays as in like the discs.
Yeah.
Right. I thought you said berets. Marvel's berets. I'll let him go and then we'll just see where you end up. And it wasn't where I thought we were going. Sorry.
Like in the first Ant-Man film, when Michael Douglas like goes into the SHIELD headquarters, it almost feels like a fucking black and white film because there's no color. And I remember there being color, but there's no color anymore.
What are you watching it on? A computer screen or a TV?
It was a 4K. It was a 4K print on a TV.
4K print on a TV. Maybe adjust your settings on your TV, like change it to dynamic or something like that. Because it's some of those settings, like the cinematic setting, is for shit. It's like it's not cinematic at all. You're just trying to make everything look fucking like film, and that's not how movies are made anymore. So if you turn on dynamic, it'll just make all the contrast and the colors pop a little bit.
Shit. Might be my bad.
And then if you fucking stand in front of the screen and jerk off and then smear your what am I talking about? Why would that make a difference, Reeks? Don't glaze your television.
Glaze your donut.
Yeah, so those movies are very good, but you feel like that production on them isn't great. That when they do a home release thing.
Yeah, like the home release thing is not great because I don't know. I feel like they're trying to have the theatrical experience different than what you get at home, because I've seen this issue a lot with like their home releases as well, because I'm on the sea a lot, so that's why.
Yeah, Disney doesn't give a fuck about physical media or good releases because they have a streaming service, and they don't want people to buy stuff that's on their streaming service because they're not paying they're not paying a monthly fee to see it.
It fucking sucks. It'll be the doom. It'll be the doom of us all.
The compensation for that is that you get these little pop-up places that do boutique shit like Arrow and stuff, and they do really interesting, things you wouldn't expect to get a 4K release. And you're like, holy shit, I am going to buy fucking Masters of the Universe with Dolph Lundgren on 4K. Like, definitely, because that movie is fucking unhinged. And it's basically just... It's just Jack Kirby's New Gods, or Fourth World, or whatever it is.
Dolph Lundgren's Master of the Universe. Yeah,
it's like even so much so they've got the cosmic key. It's just a boom tube, That's that's not my interpretation either. I heard Grant Morrison talking about that on a podcast. I'm like, holy shit, it is a boom cube thing. It absolutely is that. Yeah, crazy.
Also, really quickly, I wanted to talk about. I've been reading The Deviant by James Tynion, and it is incredible. I'm on issue 5 of 9. It's unlike anything I've ever read before, and I am in love with his style of writing. And once I finish The Deviant, I cannot wait to get into more of his writing. And I'm just it's been a while since I've been hooked on a graphic novel this good. The last time I got this hooked was Something is Killing the Children, but I dropped it because I was 27 issues behind. But yeah, I love this so much, and it is so gory, and it's an exploration of fear in a lot of ways. And it talks about homophobia and it feels like a Mindhunter episode every issue, because it's about a comic book writer going to interview an incarcerated serial killer, and he's like, the comic book writer is trying to make is trying to tell a story regarding that the crime that the serial killer committed, and it opens in the 70s with the crime. And it is the most horrifying and beautiful thing ever. It was horrifying and I fucking loved it. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Let's get into nerd news. We're only going to talk about one thing, everybody. The Lanterns trailer dropped. With the Kyle Chandlers and the other very handsome gentleman. Aaron Pierre, who was really, really great in Rebel Ridge. That's where I saw him from. Like, yeah, he could absolutely play Jon Stewart, just definitely. I think it looks really good. I think it looks like, it's basically what the fuck elevator pitch was it for. It's True Detective with Green Lanterns, and I'm fucking here for it. It's like I said to you, it reminds me of Hard Traveling Heroes, the Denny O'Neil, Neil Adams comic from 70s, where it was Green Lantern and Green Arrow sort of going around middle America, just, solving crimes and saving lives and dealing with, social injustice and racism and, class divide and all that kind of shit. I feel like there's a real opportunity here for them to say something about what it is to be, a a law enforcement officer, galactic or otherwise, in these particular times, and having the grizzled old like Hal Jordan, I think is great because that's not what we're used to. Like grizzled old Hal Jordan in the comic books goes crazy and turns into Parallax and fucking kills everybody and then becomes the Spectre. Like that's not interesting on screen. Like that's a comic idea. But on screen, like what's really interesting is seeing this guy being like, fuck, like I'm really tired of this job and I've got to train this new shithead who realizes that about me and is calling it out. Yeah. And it looks cool. And they're not leaning super hard into any effects or anything yet. Like no one's really in the costume. You kind of see it hanging up at one point. Kyle Chandler uses his powers to fly quickly at the end. And you know, you see a little bit of ring work, but it's really, they're holding it all back, I feel, which I appreciate too. But yeah, I like the vibe of it. And fucking Kyle Chandler, man, he's an absolute pimp. He's one of my favorite actors. You know, every time I see him, I'm happy about it. You know. So yeah, how do you feel about it? You said you had some qualms.
I feel like I'm on the completely different or completely opposite spectrum here. There were parts of it that were kind of good, but like I don't think that the elevator pitch of True Detective, but with Green Lanterns, is the best way to introduce that side of the world, considering it is galactic. I also, again, I don't know shit about this series, apart from what they've shown. I was expecting a lot of green and a lot of more like a bit more whimsy. And it's not that. Like I did not know how hardly they were gonna go on in the True Detective area. But having said that, I did have a thought the other day that it like they might end up discovering that the killed person is Alan Scott.
That's a fucking great idea, honestly. And they're also teasing that there might be Red Lanterns in it too, which is, you know, makes it more galactic and stuff. But the idea of it being Alan Scott is the person who's been killed is really cool.
Yeah.
Alan Scott, for anybody who doesn't follow Green Lantern, was the original Green Lantern from the 40s, who was in the Justice Society.
Yeah.
He was the one who had the lantern ring that was allergic to wood or whatever the fuck. It's like, well, that's useless. Do you know how much wood there is, especially back then? Heaps.
Well, what kind of wood is it? Is it the one in the morning or just the normal tree wood?
It's just the morning wood. Yeah,
okay.
He's allergic to that. He wakes up and goes, "Oh no, not again! Oh, I'm gonna have to beat this. I'm gonna beat it away. Gonna beat it back."
So technically, he was homophobic then,
because he didn't like his own gay penis.
Because he didn't like wood.
He did. Well, he can't be. He's a gay man. The character of Alan Scott is gay, so
Fuck
no.
me.
I don't think he would. Yeah, the character of Alan Scott's gay. I don't know when that happened. I think it might have been a Jeff Johns JSA run sort of retcon kind of thing. But yeah, there's a whole beautiful like side story about him in Tom Taylor's Deceased book about him and his partner, his husband. Yeah, it's a beautiful story. But yeah, that's a really good idea. I do, in terms of it being an earthbound adventure, I kind of get that, considering that you know, they do need to ground it. And despite the fact that Green Lantern of Earth's, or Hal Jordan is the Green Lantern of you know, Sector
Earth
2386 or whatever. Someone correct me in the comments, but whatever it is for Earth and our surrounding solar system, it makes sense that they would start there, especially if he's training a human, you know, to start there. And if what you're saying is right, and the murder that they're investigating isn't just a normal murder, well, I mean, how could it be? You know, of course, that would be under their purview because it's on Earth, and that's one of the planets in their sector.
Also, like you hinted at Parallax, and like what my other theory was that it's most definitely not that, though. It's not Alan Scott. It'll probably end up being somebody else. However, this is the age where the fucker goes mad, so he might have just killed Alan Scott.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
Yeah, so Jon Stewart doesn't have a ring in the show. Like he's training with Hal Jordan's ring. So it would be interesting to see his like willpower come in.
It's also strange because the way that you get chosen to be a member of the Lantern Corps is that a ring chooses you. So I don't know how did he get one and they're like, yoink, you've got to wait. I'm going to take it back off you fucking training wheels, you bitch.
I'm still going to go with the theory that it's Alan Scott, and Alan Scott's ring chose Jon Stewart. And that's why...
Yeah, that makes more sense. It would also make sense as to why Hal has so much animosity towards him, because like Alan Scott would have been his mentor. He's like, you're not even half the man he is, kind of situation. But yeah, I do like the buddy cop Lethal Weapon style where they fucking loathe each other, and then by the end of it, they're having Christmas dinner.
You know what would be fucking hilarious? They won't do this, but it would be fucking hilarious if the murder is actually Guy Garner, and they're both pissed off that this is the murder that they have to investigate because the Lantern Corps has told them to.
Well, that's interesting. I wonder if Fillion will turn up. He must.
He confirmed that he will. He said that this is the most F-bombs he's ever done in his career. So probably show up in at the end or something.
I don't know if I need all that, but I don't have a problem with swearing, but it needs to have a point. You know, you can't just have it mean nothing. But I don't know. We'll see. But anyway,
because equality.
That's right. And speaking of equality, how about having 2 Nick Cages in your movie? That's equal. That's even Stevens. That's a terrible, terrible thread. But we're talking about adaptation. Adaptation? Let's try that again, Riggs. Not talking about adaptation. That's where you've got too many apps on your phone and it gives you anxiety. We're talking about Adaptation from 2001, if I'm not mistaken. Fantastic picture, written by the incomparable Charlie Kaufman, who was the biggest screenwriter in the world at the time. He'd written the Being John Malkovich picture, and you kind of see that at the beginning of this film. And me and Addie were talking off mic before, and Addie was like, I didn't realize it was based on a real book, and the Meryl Streep's character was a real person. Yeah, I mean, he was asked to adapt. Why do I keep fucking doing that? It was like when I said dildo the other day. I can't get the words out. He was asked to adapt that book, The Orchid Thief, and he couldn't do it. So he wrote Adaptation and wrote himself into the screenplay. So he wrote a movie about him writing himself into the screenplay. Like obviously the third act, and the fact that even though the film at the end, it's credited with, Charlie and what's his brother's name? Sorry, I forgot. Donald Kaufman. There is no Donald Kaufman. He doesn't have a twin. That was just an artifice. Yeah, and he's like freaked out, and he didn't want to hand it in, and because he thought I'm going to get fired because I couldn't figure it out. So I wrote my own. Like, imagine sitting down and writing your own masturbation fantasy about the woman on the book jacket of the real book of the real woman that you're adapting. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's some brave artistry, I must admit. So, and he couldn't adapt the book in that fashion that they wanted him to. So he wrote this thing and then he handed it in, and they're like, yeah, that's cool. That's awesome, actually. We really like that. Spike Jonze is going to do it. Like, fuck me. So yeah, excellent picture. I hadn't seen it in a really long time, and it came at a particularly good moment because I've been focusing on screenwriting a lot more lately, and I find myself, I messaged you when I was watching it, I think I'm right in the middle of those two characters. Like, Donald is the eternally optimistic, wide-eyed, like thirst for knowledge kind of guy who just hungers to tell this story and be like his brother. And, I've got a great idea. The 3, and you're like, that's such a fucking hokey idea. And then he sells it for, fucking triple digits or whatever. And then you've got Charlie, who's like neurotic and self-involved and completely disaffected by the world around him, and his own neuroses is all he can see, and he struggles with writing because of that. It's a real drag. I think I'm right in the middle of those two. I've got the perfect amount of optimism that the work is good, but also neuroses enough to make sure that it's good. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it was good to go back and look at it because I haven't watched it since I've sort of started doing screenwriting professionally. So yeah. Anyway, I want to hear your thoughts because it was the first time you saw it. What were the circumstances?
Well, this was suggested by one of my best friends for a film club, and he had recommended this to me like a.
What's his name?
Pratik.
What's up, Pratik? What's happening, man? Nice recommend.
Yeah, he's also an incredible screenwriter. So he had recommended this to me a long time back, but I hadn't watched it, and then we did this for film club, so I had to, and then I fucking loved it. Also, I watched the second half of this film sitting in a photography class because I was done with my assignment, but they wouldn't let me go, so I just completed the 45 minutes at the end that I hadn't watched. However, I'm not going to sit here and take any fucking sibling erasure, because this film was Academy nominated, and in it, they nominate both Charlie and Donald Kaufman, so he does exist.
I think that might have been like we have to do this because that's how it's credited. Do you know what I mean? Like there might be some sort of mandate that says that. It'd be like if a film that was, there's those famous pseudonyms that people use on movies when they want to divorce themselves from the process. Like Walter Hill directed Supernova in 2000 and he fucking hated it. So a bunch of other people came in and did reshoots on it, including Francis Ford Coppola. And then at the end, it's like that's an Alan Smithy production or whatever, because that's that just name placeholder. I wonder if that's got anything to do with it, if it's some sort of mandate that they have to do it, if that's the way it's credited.
Yeah, well, also on the actual screenplay, it's credited to both Donald and Charlie Kaufman. So it is one of the biggest meta jokes of all time.
My favorite scene between them, I know we're kind of jumping around, but we always do, is where he comes home and you meet Donald for the first time and he's lying on the floor. Why are you lying down? It's my back. And he's got like half a sandwich there or whatever. And he comes in and he's like, wait, let me just get comfortable. And he wants to talk to him. And they're talking back and forth about you can't, there's no surefire way to write a screenplay. And Mr. Robert McGee's like, no, he doesn't say it's the right way. He says this works. Like, he's so optimistic about the screenwriting class. And then later on, they have the conversation where he's like, I've written myself into my screenplay. It's like Aurora Boreas. I don't know what that means.
No, and then it's like two, three dialogues later, like he tells it's a snake eating itself. And then he says that again. I don't know what that means.
He says it again. He says Ouroboros. Like I said, I still don't know what that means. Yeah, it's just what a legend. And the scenes with him and he starts dating Maggie Gyllenhaal, who's the supposedly the makeup artist on Being John Malkovich. And he's like, no, you're going to come, Donald, to the party? And he's like, no, I'm going to stay here at Maggie's or whatever. A little push in the bush. What the fuck? How is this guy getting laid? That's incredible.
Although The Three is one of the most incredibly fascinating and dumbest fucking ideas I've ever heard.
It's so good. And the way that he breaks it down as well is just, he's like, how are you going to write a screenplay where it's, there's a woman tied up, and there's a killer out there killing people, and there's a cop. Like, how are you going to write that? There's no way to write this. And he's like, how are you going to do it? And he goes, trick photography. That's not what I'm saying. It's so good. It's the funny thing is, and I don't know if I can think of an instance where this has happened before, Parent Trap notwithstanding, he acts off of himself incredibly well.
Yeah, it's so uncanny, dude.
Yeah, you do really believe that they're two different characters and that they're in the room together. Like, you completely forget, which is just it's the biggest compliment you can give it, is that it sells what it's doing so well.
Yeah.
And Nick Cage is unrecognizable. Like, I know he's done some really interesting character work in the past, Leaving Las Vegas, Bring Out the Dead, even where he was the, fucking nice permed, bemulleted guy who does fly kicks in Con Air. Like, I know he's done a lot of that stuff, but this was just something else. And he said it was the first time he gave himself to a director 100% and just did what they said, as opposed to sort of coming in with any kind of devised notion of how to play it or how to play them off each other or play them individually or whatever. And it's the one where he won a fucking Academy Award for it, I do wonder, though, if he had like Donald days and Charlie days, or if he had to switch it up on the same day because they were shooting on the same location,
Also, I have a question. Did he win? Because wasn't it the same year as The Pianist and Agent Brody won?
Did he not win? I thought he won. I'll just have a quick look. I know he'd won before. He won for Leaving Las Vegas, where he played a writer as well. He played a writer who wanted to commit suicide, so drinks himself to death in Vegas with Elizabeth Shue, who's a sex worker in it. You keep talking. I'm going to look him up.
Yeah, I just because I was like listening to somebody talk about the film, and they like brought up that like it's not he didn't win it, but he deserved it. But Agent Brody won for that year, but I wasn't really sure.
Can't have been that year. No, he won Best Actor in a Leading Role for Adaptation in 2002 and Best Actor in a Leading Role for Leaving Las Vegas in 1995.
Shit, okay. So my sources were fucked.
Yes, you need to get better source.
Nicolas Cage is... I told this to my friends as well while we were like discussing the film, is that no matter what kind of film Nicolas Cage is in, he gives 110% to every role. And that is...
He just loves the work. He just loves the work. Yeah, I mean, he's certainly tried a lot of different stuff. You know, he's been a lot of different dudes. And it's so funny. I can't think of anyone else who does this really either. You know, you normally either do one or the other. You start one way and then go the other way, or you start there and work your way up. But he flits between like proper stuff like this, like proper performances, Academy Award winning style performances, you know, things like Pig and The Color of Sound or whatever it was, that Richard Starking picture, and, you know, Mandy, like really big, you know, stuff. But then he also does like, or Dream Scenario, you know, but then he does like shitty fucking straight to streaming movies like Ninjitsu, no, what is it, Jujitsu, and fucking another one where he's fighting a cougar or called Primal, or like I mean, if you look at his IMDb, he's never not working, you know. And then he does something like a self parody as well.
Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Yeah, like he just doesn't seem to. It's the process and the craft of it that he really... I mean, he probably likes the money as well. But yeah, it's normally you kind of start in big pictures and then end up there. But he pops back up occasionally to be like, oh, maybe how fucking good Nick Cage is. He's awesome in that Dream Scenario picture. And then you go and watch 2 movies of him, you know, one where he can go into the future by 7 minutes or whatever the hell it is. You know, that fucking crazy movie. How fucking valuable is that? It's awesome. So you know whether or not your order's going to be correct at McDonald's or, you know, whatever. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. Well, he was also like, you brought up Dream Scenario, and like that film I went to watch in theater, and it was, I loved him so much in that, and I genuinely thought he was going to get nominated for an Oscar, and nope, he wasn't. But fucking hell, man, he deserved it. Because not only is that a weird film, he's so incredibly well put in that film that like his weirdness matches the film. Therefore, you feel like it's a normal film. It's not. It definitely isn't. I think somebody was really fucking flying high while writing that, but it fucking works because it's Nicolas Cage.
He has a brand, and it's him. But he doesn't behave like a brand, you know. It's not like The Rock or something where they've kind of built this idea of themselves. Like he's always reinventing. Yeah, it's an except. But I mean, all the performances in this film across the board. Chris Cooper won for Best Supporting Actor for this as well. Like totally, like absolutely. Like he was just remarkable, transformed. You know, you see him in a film like this, in that particular role where he plays this kind of like high functioning autistic. I kind of read it as this guy who's just got no center, and then you see him as that kind of stern, stiff, like just dust-proof motherfucker in American Beauty who's hiding closeted homosexuality behind, you know, his military service and all this kind of shit. Yeah, just so great, and like really funny, but super tragic as well. The scene where he's on the phone to Aileen and he's describing to her the accident, where he killed his mum and his wife was, hurt, and she divorced him like straight after they got out of hospital, and she says to him, I think if that happened to me, I'd divorce my husband too, because no one would ask questions. Like, it really is a beautifully sad movie, even though there's a courtship going on between those two characters. It's a very sad courtship. These two motherfuckers who just need the shit out of each other right now, even though it's absolutely toxic, and it is built first on drugs. And that was the thing that I noticed this time that I didn't notice the last time I watched it, I guess, is where he's in the meeting with the ancient one. What's her name?
Oh, Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swinton. And she would hate that.
She definitely would.
She's Gabriel then. She was in that scene, and he's like, look, I don't want to add fucking drugs or violence or sex or chase scene or any of that. And you get all of those things. Like, that setup and payoff is really subtle. Like, you'd have to be really kind of thinking back to that one particular scene to get that payoff. But, fucking Chris Cooper's character gets eaten by a crocodile. It's wild.
It's also like the third act of this film is Donald helping Charlie. It is his input throughout the final act that makes it good, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's also on the advice of McGee, who says that you can have flaws, but if you have a solid ending, if you can wow them.
If you wow them in the end, you've got a great movie. I love the McKee scenes, in particular where he's sitting there and he's asking the questions, and he's doing question time or whatever, and he's like, what do you mean nothing happens in life? Every minute someone kills somebody for a woman or whatever. Someone makes a conscious decision to destroy another human being. Like, why the fuck are you boring me with your fucking movie? I have no fucking use for it. And he's like, okay, thank you. And then he just sits down. It's like, I don't know what the real Robert McGee's like at all, but fucking hell, Brian Cox plays the shit out of it.
It's also the real Brian McGee wanted Brian Cox to play him that way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Because they reached out to both the actual writer of the book and Robert McGee. And Robert McGee wanted Brian Cox to play him in this fictionalized version of him. And when they went to the writer was like, this is going to absolutely destroy my career. I'm not going to sign up for this. Right? And then they just said that everybody was on board with it. And so it kind of wore down on her, and she agreed. But it's without her agreeing, we wouldn't have gotten this film. Because it doesn't work without the book existing at all. No,
there is a world where it's, that part of it's completely false, and they used someone else in a different name in a movie about different things. But it is about flowers, and the she's talking about the one that has the perfect mate.
Yeah.
is for each flower, and has its own insect, kind of thing. That's part of the creative process as well, is that locking in of two threads that need to lock in order for something to happen. And it is about adaptation. Like, flowers haven't always been the same, and they evolve based on what their environment is, and it's natural selection. It's a biological imperative, that kind of thing. And it's the same with storytelling. Like, things they always change. It changes from the moment that it goes out of your head to the page. It changes on the page constantly and over time. And then it changes to when it goes into someone else's head and they have to interpret it. And then it changes when you give that to someone to put it either on paper as a drawing or as a piece of artwork or an animation or a movie. Like, the constant evolution of creative ideas is about adaptation. And there's the idea that adaptation is compromise as well. That's not true. Like, adaptation is how we evolve and experience each other as well. So yeah, I love that there's such a huge thread about flowers. And it also brings such frustration to Charlie, because he's like, there's no way to write this book. Like, It's that sprawler New Yorker shit. Like, and he's sitting there with that fucking guy who's, I can't remember his name. He keeps pointing out chicks he's fucked in the ass. Yeah, fuck her in the ass. She's like, okay, dude.
Yeah.
Calm down.
It's also, like, it's just, it's kind of true because you can't adapt a book like that into a film. You know, like there's no story with flowers unless there are human beings attached to it. And like the attachment is where like Meryl Streep's character comes in, because she falls in love with how he sees the flowers, right? And then she's caught up to a point where she cannot she cannot like continue unless she looks at the ghost leaf or the ghost thief. And then when they find it, she's like, it's a flower. It's just a flower, and the disappointment of it, right? Because she like, and like that reflects on like her life, where like this weird fucking person gave her purpose, and once she found it, she realized that she didn't have it, and then it all comes to a fucking end because it's just a flower.
Excellent point. Well made. It's that scene where she's sitting around with all of her New York sophisticate friends and they're talking about him in not flattering terms. And then she goes into the bathroom like half laughing and then looks at herself in the mirror and realizes she's being really cruel. And that this man he's suffered a lot. Like when he talks about losing the hurricane coming through and he loses his nursery. Like this is a real person. For all of it. And the only reason that he is the way that he is because of the things that have happened to him. He's not, he's quite big-hearted and good-natured. He's just complex, And he's also a fucking drug dealer in a lot of ways too, because he's helping these guys, pull the drug out of it. That's the other thing as well. Like it's, I don't think anybody could not relate to affections for a person arising from a drug state. That's how fucking half the people who are currently married and have children right now have met. You at a club or whatever and you're drinking, and, that's sort of the social thing. But yeah, I don't think anyone would begrudge anybody misplaced feelings because they're in a drug state. It's that great scene where at the end where they, Donald's been hurt and Chris Cooper's been killed by the crocodile, the alligator or whatever, and she's like cradling him and he calls her, she's like, you fucking fat asshole, you fat idiot, like look, he's like, what up, shut up, you pathetic drug addict. And it all hits her and she's like, oh, I want to be born again, I want to be new, I want to be a baby. Like that's, you get tired of life, and you get tired of the grind of the constantly moving forward. Like imagine having everything that she has and the success as a writer, but also that the life and the money that it's probably attached to it and all that stuff. And then rediscovering some magic and then having it taken away. Yeah. I think it's everybody in this film, like no one's right, but no one's wrong either. Like they're just in the middle, which is a nice space to be for drama.
Yeah, and like coming back to Nicolas Cage's performance, I feel like it's so nuanced because like Charlie and Donald walk differently, they talk differently, they have different outlooks, right? And like the only like commonality they have is like they're twins and they look like each other.
But Donald is better looking from
Charlie's perspective because he's self-deprecating at every single point.
Yeah, that's true. But just you look at them side by side, like it just the it's so strange to say that, but it's absolutely true.
I don't completely agree with that, but however, I can understand that point because like when we first see Charlie, he is sitting across Gabriel, the one and only.
The one and only, yeah.
Sweating his fucking ass off. Right, and like that's how we meet him, and then like his inner monologue is always like degrading himself, right? So
that's how it starts over black.
Yeah, and
should keep running 5 miles a day, get really fit, really do it this time.
Yeah, and so like like for us, it's easier to say that Donald is the good looking one, is because he gets the girl. He is able to write the screenplay, sell it. He is also able to be around people and not have a panic attack. Like in this entire film, from start to end, Charlie Kaufman is having a fucking panic attack, and every given moment, and we are part of it. So it's easier for us to look at Donald and see that he's a better looking person. Right? But like for me, it's just that's the clever writing of it, is that they're both the same, but you're put into Charlie's perspective the moment this film begins. So of course you look at Donald the better way, because he thinks he's better looking.
Yes, yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah, I didn't think of it that way. I also like a writer's ritual is really specific. It's you know, you never have the same writer say the same thing twice. We've all got our different. I say we, but you know, not that I'm part of that community, but you know, when I do write, I have, you know, ways that I like to do it. And his one where he's sort of sitting at a typewriter, hunched over in a tiny, tiny little seat in his bedroom, no less, which is like the worst fucking place to be creative as far as I'm concerned. The bedroom is for to sleep in and for to fucking. And for sometimes a reading, and then maybe to have something to eat in bed if it's late night. That's how I do it, you know. But never I don't try to be creative in the bedroom. It's the wrong space. However, that's what works for him. And he's sitting there and he's typing. And I know this feeling when it just won't turn up. It just won't come. You know, like that's the thing about writing and you know, the conversation we had last week about AI, about people like, oh, you just pump in AI and it'll give you options and then you can pick one and then you can move forward. I'm like, no, someone said to me the other day that writer's block is a gift, because then you have to reset and give yourself space and then and come back to it, and you'll be in the shower and all of a sudden, ping, all the bits will snap together and you'll be like, holy shit, and you'll run out and you'll type it out in a towel and you'll be elated for the rest of the day because you did it. But he's sitting there and you know, yeah, you can't wait for the muse to turn up. You have to put your hands on the keys and just work. And sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's not. But he's sitting there and he's like, and maybe I'll have coffee and a muffin. That'll help me write. Well, maybe I'll write some and then that'll be my reward. Maybe banana nut. That's a good muffin. That is my hands down my favorite line in the entire film. I forgot it, and then when it happened, I cackled like a fucking hyena because it's so true. Like I'll be sitting there going, I want a cup of tea. I'll have a cup of tea after I finish this. No chai, you know what I mean? Like thinking about what I want. Yeah, it's very, very true.
I love the usage of voiceovers a lot, because it gives you exactly the things that are going on in Charlie's head, and then immediately stops mid-sentence when Mickey says the laziest thing you can ever do is have voiceover, and it fucking stops.
I couldn't believe it when you pointed that out. Yeah, he's just, you know, he's sitting there thinking it. He said, God help you if you use voiceover. It's lazy hack writing. Oh, okay. And then you're right, it stops completely until the button of the movie. It's like, I want to get home, finish this guy. I know how to finish it now. I'm like, yeah, just, it's little things like that, like little. The movie I was watching yesterday, when I was talking about the Run, Hide, Fight one, they peppered in all this stuff, but without like making it super obvious. Like in the Scream movie, they were like, oh, you know, there's all these they might have been going, there's all these rumors that Stu Macher didn't die. Like, okay, is that going to come up later? Or like, you know what I mean? Just there's sewing in like narrative threads, and then there's doing a fucking exposition dump. And this movie does it, and Run, Hide, Fight does it really well in the sense that they pop in these things of like, okay, so the day that all these kids attack, it's also the last day of school. So it's prank day. So no one believes her when she's running around saying that there's a school shooting going on. They're like, oh yeah, it's just prank day. You know, she's banging on the windows because it's prank day. That's a really great narrative thread. One of the teachers says, I haven't had my morning coffee because some students filled the teacher's lounge with balloons. And then later on, she goes in there to hide in the balloons from someone who's chasing her. Like little things like that. And this does it really well too. Like it pops in those narrative moments that are super important for the payoff. And again, the biggest one being him saying, I don't want it to be, an action movie or whatever, and then it absolutely turns into that for 20 minutes.
Yeah, and I have to give credit to Pratik because he brought it up. Is like the final act, or like the third act, is absolutely Donald giving Charlie helping Charlie write it and complete it, because it's everything that Donald likes and talks about in a Charlie script.
Yeah, it's I don't know what kind of stuff that remind me to come back to something that I forgot to mention that I'd read as well, because it's important. I'll come back to it at the end, everybody. I don't know what kind of work Charlie Kaufman does, or how he channels that energy, or how he pulls it in and stuff like that. If it's some sort of engaging with Donald, if he does that. But Donald absolutely wrote the third act of this movie. Yeah. And then after he dies, it's back to Charlie again, because then you have the beautiful denouement of the regret, and the button on the film where he meets that lovely British girl again, and she says what she's been up to, and there's kind of the piece of realizing he lost that opportunity, but that bird has flown, but she's still in his sphere, kind of thing. And then the great fucking time lapse shot of he pulls out into the possible future as a screenwriter, and the flowers come up in front of camera, and then they just sit there for days and days and days, and the time lapse happens. Really, really cool. Yeah, there's that stuff is back to him again, Yeah, I love the duality of not only the roles that he plays, but how they infect the story and the screenplay.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's incredibly flowery in his writing as well. Like if you read one of his screenplays, like it's kind of played a little bit for a joke in this when he's doing log lines, or when he's doing the descriptive passages of a script, the action lines. He that's how he writes. It sounds like that. It sounds really kind of poetic. And some screenwriters, if you look at someone like David Mamet or Grant Morrison's another good example. His comic scripts are really bare bones. It's like he says, this person's doing this person's doing this, and they're feeling this, and this is where they are. It's really, really simple. But someone like Charlie Kaufman or Shane Black's another good example as well. Shane Black was talking about, he directs the information to the reader, even though it's a screenplay. He's like, make it fun, and then the character went to bed, and so should you, it's that kind of thing. And I like doing that as well. And talking about the feeling of how, what somebody's feeling as opposed to just what they're doing is really interesting, and how you can make it kind of poetic. And I like that they didn't lose that in the way that you would portray Charlie, or the way that Charlie portrayed himself as a writer. Do you want to talk about some sort of, favorite moments and favorite lines and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. What were you going to say about that you read something?
Oh, yeah. So in 2020, Jim Carrey wrote a book with a person named Dana Vacon called Memoirs and Misinformation, a Novel. And I thought it was a fucking biography. And it's not. It's a fucking, I really don't know how to describe it. It's really, really well written. It's one of the best prose pieces I've ever read. I absolutely loved it. But it's basically, he's put himself in this story that didn't actually happen, but it sounds like it might have. Like it starts with like this meditation thing, and Gwyneth Paltrow's there, and Nicolas Cage is, going to the fourth dimension or the fifth dimension, and he's seeing all these aliens attacking, and he's beating them back with a sword, and Kelsey Grammer's there going, this is fucking hyperbole and blah blah blah, and Jim Carrey's just there, and he meets a new wife who was a character on a spy show in Russia, and he marries her, and then their marriage falls apart, and then he gets a script from Charlie Kaufman, which is the story of Mao Zedong, the Chinese dictator, and he wants Jim Carrey to play it. So they have rehearsals in this hotel room that Charlie Kaufman's got, and Jim's like constantly throughout the book he's eating because he's got to put on weight to play Mao Zedong. And the person who's going to play the president at the time, which I think would have been Nixon, I think. Yeah, anyway, whoever it was, whatever, I'm not sure about the timeline, was Anthony Hopkins. And they've got this crazy thing in there where they're like throwing Chinese food at each other, and fucking Charlie shoots Jim by accident. And then the third act the rapture happens, aliens turn up, start taking people away, and Nick Cage, Gwyneth Paltrow, Jim Carrey, and Sean Penn and Kelsey Grammer all like fight aliens in California, and then at the end of it, he's on a raft by himself in the middle of the ocean. It was absolutely bizarre, and I fucking loved it. And I didn't read it actually. I listened to the audiobook. It only goes for about 6 hours. In terms of audiobooks, that's quite small. Like Infinite Jest is like fucking 58 hours or something. But yeah, it's really, really good, and I forgot to mention it before, but because it brings in Charlie Kaufman a lot, and the version of Charlie Kaufman in the book is this incredibly paranoid, guy who thinks that the Chinese government's after him because he wants to make this scathing thing about Mao Zedong, and it's like, hang on a second, how the fuck can we? How the fuck can I play Mao? I'm a white dude. Like, what are you talking about? So it was well worth your time. Memoirs and Misinformation, a novel it's called. But it's absolutely not a biography because it starts like it could be. It sounds like it could be at the beginning, and then it goes absolutely bananas.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Off top.
It's also and Jeff Daniels that reads the audiobook.
Oh shit! I started watching The Newsroom like yesterday.
Fuck, that's a good show. Come on, that's a great show. That's some good Aaron Sorkin shit. Like I like The West Wing, but I really like Newsroom. I don't know why more, but yeah. Yep,
and like this is very fitting with Pratik put me on that. He was like, he would probably like that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right up your alley. Like to have an imitation version of journalists that actually give a shit.
It's
interesting.
Like the pilot of that show is shot on Super 8, which I found was it was it was insane because the show itself is shot on digital because it's produced in 2010s and film was obsolete by then. But the pilot was shot on Super 8, and what I found interesting was that this is so off topic. In the intro, and like shows don't do this usually, or shows now, they have like the intro to the show is like the second episode, that's when it starts. But The Newsroom has the intro in like the very first episode. In the very first episode, in the intro, you see Olivia Munn, but she's nowhere in the first episode.
Yeah, because she's only in the actual. It doesn't take place in the newsroom really. The first episode, it starts in the college, where he has the big impassioned speech.
And in the second episode, Olivia Munn is there. And I feel like, and this happens because, you make a pilot and then you like pitch it and you get it sold, and then they give you the financing to make the entire show or the entire season. So I feel like Olivia Munn wasn't part of the originals, the pilot. But when they got her for the part, they put her in the intro, even though she's not in the pilot.
I fucking love Olivia Munn. I think she's great. She's particularly good in that show.
Yeah. I've only seen Olivia Munn in X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah, right.
And I loved her in that. And I'm so excited. Yeah. I was so excited to see her in the intro, and I was waiting for her to come in the first episode. I was like, this is betrayal. This is blasphemy. And then she's in the second episode. I was like, yeah.
How very dare. Yeah, she's got a really great arc. And she's excellent in Your Friends and Neighbours as well, with the John Hamm show that was one of my top 5 best TV of the year. So
now I have a reason to watch it. I'll probably watch it now.
Yeah, right. Favorite bits, favorite lines, favorite stuff. Like I said before, I fucking love the first, Charlie's intro. Donald's intro is really, really great. Is in particular, I really love the scene. It's kind of a little bit pat now and a little bit overdone, but where just from a cinematic point of view, cinematography point of view, where he pulls out of the driveway and the car hits them and you're in the car, that was the first time I feel that had been done successfully. And there'd been other, very functional examples of it where they've actually done it, but it was kind of a prop in a way, or they hadn't done it using green screen and in-camera techniques and stuff like that, where it's, the car hits and stuff and it looks legit. I remember just being completely shook in the cinema because of it. So yeah, just on a technical standpoint, Spike Jonze is an incredible filmmaker. He broke a lot of the rules. Yeah.
I also very recently found out last night, Spike Jonze is not black. I thought he was black for some reason.
You're Spike Lee.
No, I know what Spike Lee looks
racist. You're fucking racist. And he's a racist. Addie's racial.
Yes, I am.
Addie, he goes to the supermarket, and you know how you can buy the 6 dinner rolls and they're all put together? Yeah, you rub your dick on all of them and then put them back because you're a racist.
What is that? What?
Are your dinner rolls glazed? No, they're not. They look like they are. Okay, hang on. All right, wait a minute. What are we talking about? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure why that came up. It just did. He said with an erection. All right.
Oh, so that's why your table bumped a little. Okay.
Yeah, it's that big. I'm hung like a fucking racehorse. No, I'm really flat today because I'm tired, and I thought maybe I better inject some filth. Stay on brand. Got to expect it. It was so funny recording with Sequel Suck Guys the other night, and you know, me and Angus are pretty raw anyway. Poor Cable, he's got to put up with it. But this guy Ben took it to another level. And then afterwards, Angus was like, "When Reegs is on, the show's R-rated. When Ben and Reegs are on, it's X." I was like, "Fucking yes." So great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, anyway, it's a really good episode. Everybody should check it out. I don't know if it's out yet, but we'll see. Yeah, sorry, what was one of your faves?
Well, you took one of my favorites. I'm gonna go with the interaction with the waitress in the diner.
Oh my god. It's so heartbreaking. So heartbreaking.
I would specifically go both because the first one kind of ends okay, but then he goes too far.
Yeah, it can be a real. Having worked in hospitality for so long, it can be a real thing because you're paid to be friendly and engage with people, and you know, because that's how you get repeat customers. And both me and my fiance, who worked at the same place that I worked at, that's how we met. We were both hit on. Like, I got lots of numbers. A girl just wrote one day, "If you're single," and then her phone number, and put it on the thing. And then when I said I wasn't, because me and Emily were dating at the time, she never came back. Like, oh no, sorry. But yeah, it's just that thing. And the look on her face, fuck. Especially after you've seen his fantasy about her, like, "Oh my God, these are so beautiful. Let's go out back and I'll show you my tits." And then Donald knocks on the door while he's trying to have a wank. Oh, the worst. The worst.
That's the worst. Not that he's consecutively masturbating because he has writer block.
Yeah. Oh, well, no. Sometimes you got to punch out that easy one before you get a page or two done.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. So you were saying that particular scene with the key lime pie. I think the bar scene between McGee and Charlie is really important, and it's so when he hugs him at the end, like just the elation of the creative spark that you can receive from other people, and how that can further you. And I really like that scene. And then where he says, "Have you taken my course before?" And he's like, My twin brother Donald, he came, and he's like, twin brothers. And Casablanca was written by twin brothers. Finest screenplay ever written, and it fucking really is very good. It's a very good screenplay if you get a chance to read it.
Yeah, my next scene is from McGee as well, but it's when he shouts out It's when he shouts out the voiceover out of the film.
Yeah, he scares the voiceover away.
I don't know, man. There's something so like clever and so funny about it that I can't get over it, because it's like, not only is this film unusual, but to have that and then to like not have it at all until the very end. It's like it's so subtle, but it's obviously it's there. You know, and like that's like also one of the main reasons why it's Donald in the third act, because there's no voiceover at all. It's beginning then.
I think probably my favorite scene is the manic state that he reaches, where he's like decided that it needs to start at the beginning of time, and then winds all the way up to like him masturbating to the book cover of, you know, the picture, and then he's like writing it, but he's dictating, and then he goes back to his notes and repeats what he was just doing so that he can put it in the script. And then he's listening back to it and he's like, this is it. This is the breakthrough. This is the one I really have. Oh, this is so good. I'm so good. And then he clicks it off and you see the despair and the horror of being like, none of that is usable. Like I know that feeling a lot where you feel like you've cracked the code on something. Like I've been working on a screenplay for about probably about 8 months, but I've had the idea for over a year. That I've been actually like on page for about 8 months. And I got about halfway through and I was like, I have no fucking idea where I am. Like, I don't know where I've lost all bearings. I can't figure out why this guy is where he is. I don't know how to get him to the next place. And I was stuck in the middle of Act 2 for months and I couldn't crack it. And I came up with so many false starts, even so much as to, like completely upend the film altogether and have it like it's about boxing and have it not be about boxing, like have just the boxing part of it end right there. And I'm like, no, there needs to be a fucking fight at the end of it, Reeks. Like that's people are expecting. It's still a sports movie, like even though it's about like philosophy and shit. Yeah, so to have that kind of feeling of like, yes, I've got the code is cracked, and then you listen back or you read it back and you're like, this is all fucking garbage. I can't use a second of this shit. This is horse shit. And I felt very seen. I felt very seen in that moment. And I have, like I said, I haven't watched this since taking on screenwriting as a profession. It was probably like, a whim at best when I last watched it, because I haven't watched this movie in probably 15 years at least.
And number one is, well, the scene that you talked about, but also the scene that he's starting to insert himself in. Like it becomes about Charlie Kaufman, and it's about Charlie Kaufman writing about Charlie Kaufman writing about the film. And
he says it to Donald. He's like, I've written myself in my screenplay. That's weird.
Yeah. Like that specific interaction as well was like just because Donald is like the fucking optimistic. To see him not understand a single word that Charlie is saying is like, it's like, that's weird. It's just. I
think it's also a little bit of a comment on like Charlie Kaufman's work being really cerebral, and that's why he hasn't written heaps, because his works are so dense. And yet they've got these people out there who've read a screenplay book, and write something, and nobody who knows somebody, because the only reason that Donald's screenplay gets seen is because his fucking brother has an agent. Otherwise, it would have languished in the middle of nowhere. He might have entered some script competitions or whatever, which are fucking totally like bankrupt in terms of, most of them are anyway, in terms of the way that they operate. But yeah, like it's a comment on the vapidness of the industry. It's like, it's a fucking great script. It's a money maker. It's a blockbuster. Like I think that's him saying that too. Yeah, and I do love the scene where he comes in. He's been working all night and he feels like he's kind of cracked the code a little bit, or at least he's got something to move forward. And then Donald comes in and he's like, I'm putting in a chase sequence. It's like, and the guy's on a motorbike and the cop's on a horse. So it's like, technology versus horse. And he's like, yeah, that's really good. That's a really good idea. She's like, see, babe, I told you you'd like it. Like, it's so sweet and pandering.
I can't, man. We have to talk about this for a second. The 3 is about a serial killer who kidnaps somebody and a cop, and they're all the same person. And and the person starts to eat themselves because the kidnapper hasn't fed them, because he's another person. And
there's no, like, you couldn't, I'm sure that if you went online, you could probably find a version of this that someone's kind of written, like a fanfic kind of thing. There is no way to write that structurally. There's just no, certainly not without giving it away.
Yeah.
Like immediately on screen, but in the screenplay. Like, it sounds like someone trying to do M. Night Shyamalan.
Yes, but in the first act.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. I'd just say as well, we didn't speak on her specifically. Meryl Streep is uncanny in this role. Like, she's so reserved at first, and she's one of the most naturalistic actors of all time. It's like Mark Ruffalo we were talking about before. They just do stuff, and they're very, very good at it. They don't need to, do huge character work or anything. It's just they're so believable. And yeah, this this woman who's gotten to the top and realizes there's nothing up there. There's nothing there. There's just more top. And she's got the money and the prestige, and they're like, oh, we're going to make a film. And she's like, oh my God, they've written a screenplay. And they're like, oh, we've got people to do that for you. Don't worry. Like that is, yeah. And then realizing that it's all meaningless, really. Like if you don't, it's such a performance, and that's the reason her relationship is toxic as it is with Chris Cooper's character is John LaRoche, is because it's the fantasy of that, the freedom from that, and I think that's what a lot of middle-aged people kind of feel like, that they've written themselves into a corner. But you can start again whenever you like, just make a big change. Big change is good.
She's incredible in like just how not muted, but like you said, like the reserve performance, but she's also like you can see the moment that she like is enamored by John LaRoche, and also the moment that she's disappointed in the choices that she's made. It's like it's the right back where she's questioning everything that he's told her, and she's like, but you said that like botany was your entire life or whatever, and he's like, well, or like fishing was, right? Because he was into fishes or fish.
Yeah, tropical fish. He's like, and how many did you have? And he's like, oh, I gave it up right after that.
And like
she's like, oh, fuck this fucking flake. Yeah.
Like she's then realizing that like he is this way, and like he's not serious about anything, and she has fantasized about this life, and it's gone bad.
I think it's the freedom that she sees in him, where she's like, where he says that, where he's like, and then one day I just say, fuck fish. I vow never to put another toe in that ocean, and I haven't. She's like, why? And he says, done with fish. Like the freedom of being able to do that. I think people get, especially if you're in the kind of field she's in, which is sort of journalism, I guess, and it's writing for the New Yorker and stuff. You kind of feel like what you produce is ultimately like how you'll be remembered, as opposed to the way that you behave, which is probably not true. There's a lot of people out there who produce a lot of really good stuff and behave horribly. So yeah, I don't know. It was a really good performance though. Yeah. So what was your last one? Sorry. My last one is when Donald and Charlie are both spying on Meryl Streep's character from the hotel across the street. Yeah.
It's just like that entire sequence of like them finding out that she's there to like stalking her, to ending up at John LaRoche's place. It's so funny.
Where he goes in and pretends to be Charlie and like interviews her. Yeah. Imagine me and you. Come on, you know it. So great. Absolutely excellent picture, everybody. We only talk about things we love here on the Film Addicts podcast. You know that. And we love this movie. If you haven't seen it, sorry we ruined everything. If you have seen it, watch it again, because it's well worth a revisit, especially in these crazy making Hollywood bizarre times that we're living in. Do we have any questions? I think I saw some go up.
Yeah. We have one question from Chaz.
Fishing. Sorry, I don't know what I'm talking about.
We have one question from Chaz who says,
"What's up, son? I miss you, mate."
He asks, what role would you like Nick Cage to play? A role that he hasn't done before. And in parentheses, he says, a black Southern mom, who's kind of...
If anyone fucking could. A black Southern mom. Get in here! Yeah, I don't know. Something he hasn't done. President of the United States in a Air Force One style situation where he's a president, he's got to whoop somebody's ass. That would be really great. Or they remake. Someone said that to me the other day. Who was it? I think it was Ben on the Sequel Suck podcast. I think we were talking about, because I said, should they just remake Scream? Should they just start again and just do it from the up? And they were all like, categorically no. And like they would absolutely not. They didn't want that to happen. what would be a good one? And I think it was Ben or Gus said they should do Jurassic Park, because Crichton was like, it's someone else was going to do it before. James Cameron was vying for the rights to do it, and Amblin beat him, like Spielberg's company beat him to it. And he's like, I was going to do it like the book, like full on R-rated horror movie. I'm like, that's pretty fucking cool. Like that would be cool. So I reckon if they do that, if they sort of remake Jurassic Park from scratch and have it as a full on horror movie, Nick Cage is in it as the T-Rex.
Okay.
Or a raptor. No, he'd be the John Hammond, the avuncular guy who makes all the wrong decisions.
Mine is kind of a cop-out because it's actually happening.
Okay.
I wanted him to play a superhero.
Well, he's done it plenty. He was Ghost Rider.
Yeah, that's true. Every time you say Ghost Rider, like the image in my mind is him on the fucking horse on fire in Ghost Rider 2. I
think that's still Ghost Rider 1. Sam Elliott is the other Ghost Rider, and there's a scene where they're running alongside each other.
I mean, we got to do that too. We did Constantine, we got to do that too.
Yeah. I mean, like that. The Ghost Rider movies aren't horrible. Like they're pretty good for their time, by comparison to some of the fucking horse shit that comes out now. That's for sure. Chaz, what do you reckon? Apart from the Southern Baptist mum or whatever the fuck it is you said it was, and everybody else out there, what would you like to see Nick Cage do as well? Maybe you'd like to see him do, more superhero stuff. Maybe you'd like to see him do more art house stuff. Maybe you'd like to see him do your wife. I don't know what you're into, you fucking cuck. Anyway.
That took a turn.
Didn't it? It got dark on me, yeah. But that is our show. That's it. We finish. Addie's got one more thing to say, though. I like how you put your hand up like it's class. Yes, and Addie, what did you have to add?
I would love to see him in an actual play D&D, story, like even for like one session. I so badly want to know how he would play D&D.
He'd be so into it. He's all up in the guts of that fucking, sort of occult shit, and I think he'd be well into it.
Yeah, it's just I cannot imagine him doing that, and that would be awesome if he did.
Yeah. All right. Well, you hear that, Nick? We know you're listening. Hit Addy up and he can be your dungeon master or fucking whatever he's into. We love you, everybody. You're very special, and you mean the world to us. Thank you again for listening as always. Addy, I think you're beautiful. Well, you are my universe, so I have to listen to you at all times. What? You do, that's right. I am both the angel and the devil on your ear. I'm the one who's going, you should really talk better about yourself. And then on the other side, I'm going, fucking cocks and dicks, and fucking bennies, anuses, my anus, your anus, fucking whatever. Then the other side's going, you know how you sent me that message that said that you took normal yogurt and put some nice fresh chopped up strawberries in it, and you said it was just the best thing ever. I think you should do that again, because he's not going to shut up. I'm like, fucking fuck you, dickhead, cocks and lipstick on your dick ring and fucking ball sacks and tonguing anuses and all that stuff. Like, I'm both of those guys. True. I also have a different version, because you're both... Okay. Because for me, you're both the Spectre from Kingdom Come. Oh, cool. And Ted Lasso. Apocalyptically optimistic. Yeah, that sounds about right, actually. Yeah, I do straddle the line. But anyway, thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time for something else fucking weird, because that's our brand. Just remember, fuck hate. Love wins.